Hello and welcome back into another episode of Craven Some Raven. I'm trying to get some more episodes out, but schedule has been pretty crazy, and it might continue to be crazy. So we'll see what happens once this preseason gets going. See if I can try to push out some more episodes, some more breakdowns, some more stuff, because I can actually go ahead and watch the games, and I'll be able to speak on them. So that being said, it is Monday, August. I want to say it is what day is it? It's the 5th, August 5th, and today they wrapped the first day of practice with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ugh, gross. Jacksonville? I know. What a gross city. No offense if you're from Jacksonville, but I haven't heard anything good about living there. So they came up to town. They drove all the way up, or I imagine they probably flew because that's a hell of a drive. So they flew up to Owings Mills to practice with the Ravens to see. They came up here to see how good Lamar Jackson was. They want to get their hands dirty and play with a playoff team. No, Super Bowl team. All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I think the Ravens are, actually, I think maybe the Jaguars will get to the Super Bowl because last year we practiced with the Rams and they went to the Super Bowl. So if you apply that logic, then bing bada boom, they're in the Super Bowl. Go Jags. I'm rooting for you, Nick Foles. Big Dick Nick. Not really. I'm not rooting for him. I thought that season they got to the championship, I thought that was a fluke. But, it's still good to have some different players up in Owings Mills and see how our guys do against them. Because we will be playing them in the preseason games, so they're kind of getting a good look at them, see what happens, see how they react to their different skill sets and how they like to play. And then they actually go ahead and get to play them on Thursday. So I'll have some breakdowns of that game and all that when we get to that point. But some news that happened today is that they cut Alex Lewis, which is, it was up in the air because he'd been injured. When he's played, he had been pretty decent. He wasn't a bad guard. He wasn't great. I wouldn't say great, but he was good. He was adequate. He didn't just get blown up every play. So originally, he posted on Instagram saying his farewells to the Ravens organization and how it was such a great opportunity. The Ravens, they drafted me, blah, blah, blah. I love you, Ravens. But now on to his next opportunity. Whatever it was, it's basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that's, what he said. And then, but the Ravens, I heard about this and I didn't see anything from the actual Ravens. It was just from Alex Lewis's Instagram. So people are saying oh, well, what does this mean? It's not official because you can't really just trust what the player says. I knew he wasn't going to be on the team because the player is basically saying that. But it's was he just released? Is he on waiver wires now, or what's going on? And it turns out that the Ravens actually traded him to the Jets. So I guess during the season, I imagine he might win a starting job because as long as he doesn't get injured, because he just passed his physical. I think maybe that's what they were waiting on. They were going to wait to trade him or open calls. Maybe they had been talking with people already saying, hey, once this guy's healthy, you can have him. We're tired of dealing with these headaches. So best of luck to him. But it goes to show, man, Eric DeCosta, no fucks given. Oh, and I think from the last episode that I had, some other news that we also cut Jordan Lastly. And I had talked about on the last episode that, he got in a fight, and then he's throwing the ball into ponds and shit, and he's dropping everything. And the next day, they went out and released him. So, and he was picked up by the Raiders, I believe. I think he was picked up by the Raiders. So I saw some stuff. It was QB controversy, and in Oakland Raiders camp now because Jordan Lastly was throwing punches and throwing the ball into the pond. So yeah, maybe he'll catch on there. Maybe him and Darren Waller will hook up and be boys. But yeah, it really just goes to show Eric DeCosta, EDC, cutthroat. My man gives no fucks. Eric DeCosta, he's molding this team after himself. And I think it's one of these things where it's, hey, you're a pick by Ozzy. You ain't helping the team right now. So you go ahead and get on out. Like, if you're not competing, you ain't on the team. Right? We don't really have many injuries. At least not the players who, I mean, like, let's see, Alex Lewis, he was nothing but injured. He just kept getting injured. And eventually it's like, all right, buddy, you go ahead and do your thing. And I'm surprised that we were actually able to get anything for him. Very shocking. I'm sure they tried to do the same exact thing with Jordan Lastly, but I think they just kind of cut him super quickly. Maybe they didn't have talks in the works, or maybe they did. But he just hadn't shown it on the field to receive any kind of compensation. At least Alex Lewis, he had some on-field play where it's like, oh, he's a good starting lineman. It's just he can't he can't seem to stay on the field. But when he is, he's pretty decent. Best ability is availability. It's the best football quote when it comes to talking about injured players. The best ability is availability. I'll tell you what. Now, I'm a huge fan of this, honestly. Not the fact that it's like, oh, just cut your players, trade your players, get them on out of here. No, I like Eric DeCosta's decisiveness and vision for his team. And I love his cutthroatness, man. Just cut your throat. You're dead. Get off the team. But I love it because this is a business and it's got to be that way. You got to perform. This is a game built on athletic performance. And if you are not winning, then you are losing, I guess. I mean, it's a pretty basic statement, but I mean, if you're not winning for the team, there's no reason for you to be here. There's a difference between competing well and just competing to be like a third string guy. I don't know, or I mean, maybe I'm using the wrong words for this. Let me start over. I'm a fan of Eric DeCosta because maybe it was Ozzie Newsome who has his guys, because for the longest time it's like, oh, Harbaugh has his guys, and for whatever reason they stay on the roster for no reason. He gets rid of the guys he doesn't like and he keeps the guys he does like. I mean, that's how it works. But maybe this was Eric DeCosta or Ozzie Newsome instead of John Harbaugh. Maybe Ozzie Newsome has his guys. He was the one to talk to Terrell Suggs when he left. All the interviews and stuff that Terrell Suggs did, he was talking about how he talked to Ozzie. He was talking to Ozzie right before. Someone outside my apartment, just like out in the parking lot. I think it's like a homeless guy. Anyways, it's like kicking a can. Just kicking a can like the kids used to do in the 40s or 30s or whatever time they played kick the can. Anyways, yeah, I think it might have been Ozzie Newsome who had his guys. He was stuck to them. Yeah, he drafted them for so long, and he got emotional towards the end. He stopped being young and cutthroat. And Eric DeCosta, I think it's just showing this is the way he operates. You ain't helping, you off the team, motherfucker. I don't care. Fucking EDC, Electric Daisy Carnival out here. Putting the rave in Ravens. If you don't know, EDC, Electric Daisy Carnival, it's a huge rave out in Las Vegas. So, the rave in Ravens. Alright, never mind. Oh, God. Every time every time I do these episodes, especially a week apart, I'm just like so rusty. Man, especially I had some all-I-could-eat sushi, so I am just like bloated. And not bloated, but I'm full. My mind ain't working at 100%. I'm cooking at about like 30. No, maybe like 80%. I don't know. I ain't a flow state. Flow state's 100%. Either way. Eric Costa, EDC. He maybe some of these players, during the draft, because he had been in all of these drafts, and it's always they say it's a discussion between the scouts and Eric and Ozzy. Maybe he didn't advocate for us drafting some of these guys that he was so quick to cut, like a Jordan Lastly or Alex Lewis. And Alex Lewis did kind of surprise, but maybe in the past he didn't advocate that. And maybe even some of these guys who left earlier, Terrell Suggs, C.J. Mosley, Zadarius Smith, maybe he was so quick to let them go because he's like, I didn't want them in the first place. Now they played well for us, but they weren't my guys. He's got his guys too. No, maybe he doesn't have his guys, but he doesn't have other people's guys. Anyways, so crazy moves. They're just cutting people left and right. I mean, and they have to have 91. I don't know if they do have to have 91, but I mean, it seems like they are. Because they always bring someone. They always sign someone who's not going to make the team. And it'd be surprising if they did. Because honestly, I think the roster's pretty much set. Unless you can pick up some A-level talent, which you're not going to do at this point unless you trade for somebody. You're not making the team better. You're just bringing in bodies. Like at this point, when they cut or when they bring in somebody, it's just a body. Like the guy they brought in for RG3, I forget his name off the top of my head. Just because he's a body. Why should I even learn his name? Why should I understand or look into what are his likes? What are his dislikes? Is he a good player? Let me see some highlights. No, because he's going to play the first preseason game and be gone. Because RG3 is already throwing again, which is kind of crazy. And if he had to go out there, he would. And like I said in the last episode, I am pretty sad that RG3 got injured because this was going to be his time to shine. He's trying to get a starting gig somewhere, and preseason is his gateway. That is his way in. Listen, how do I forget this? Ed Reed, Hall of Fame. What do you know? Baltimore. The way he does that. The pick six mix himself. The tricks with the pick six. Ed Reed, the GOAT, man. I remember growing up, you had Ray Lewis people or Ed Reed people. Like, if you were a fan of the Ravens, those were the two guys. Like, who's your favorite player on the team? And it was the Ray Lewis camp or the Ed Reed camp. I was in the Ed Reed camp. I loved Ed Reed as a player. Just watching his sheer exciting plays, and then getting older and really, when I really got into football, deep into football, and I started playing, and then really watching it, and then listening to the announcers, really them breaking down the plays, and then seeing interviews with Ed Reed, and then he would set the quarterback up, man. That shit's crazy. I didn't really think that was a thing that defenders did. I thought they were just read and react, and he was going out and making the play, not reacting to the play and then making it and then doing something spectacular. No, just from the jump, calling his own play. Just so freaking exciting. Such an incredible player. I mean, I think my dad used to have season tickets when we would go to games all the time, so I got to see him live quite a few times. Him and Ray Lewis, that whole defense, just getting to see some of the classic Ravens teams, like '06, got to see them. I forget when he got the tickets and when he got rid of them, but got to see quite a bit of Ed Reed. I saw, my dad got to see that, the record-breaking pick six I do believe it was like a Monday night or was it Sunday night. I just know it was a night game. They're wearing the all black. He got to see that live. I didn't get to go because obviously school in the morning, but super cool. And like you always forget that he was a hitter too, because man, there was a few times where he came up and he just laid the wood, where he would just knock someone out. Like him versus Hines Ward, that was one of my most favorite battles growing up. I hated Hines Ward, so just like stop smiling. You just got jacked up, man. And then Hines Ward would come and fuck up Ed Reed. Those are just some great battles back in the day. See, I miss that kind of stuff. The rivalry, it just ain't there. I think rivalries across the whole league, they're just not what they used to be. Because first, I think you're not allowed to hit as hard, so there's less cheap shots. And also, there's so much turnover. It's more and more like the college game. Where in college, it's 4 years and you're gone. And that's basically the NFL now, besides like a 10% of the league. Besides like I don't know, maybe more than that. Maybe like 20%, maybe not of the whole league, but maybe 10, I'd say like 25% of the starters. They're the ones that stay. And so, you know, there's just so much turnover in the NFL. You don't have those rivalries built. You don't have, hey, this guy versus this guy, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's the battle that's been going on for ages. That just doesn't happen. So luckily, we got Lamar Jackson and the Browns got Baker Mayfield, so maybe that'll create a rivalry. You know Baker Mayfield loves to talk too, so hopefully he'll say something stupid, get Lamar Jackson riled up. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he doesn't really say shit. He keeps it pretty chill, pretty honest. That's why I like it. I love his attitude. But Baker Mayfield, he's got some kind of complex where he's got to be a dick. I love it. I love the attitude. I'm actually a fan of it. You know, go ahead and be a douchebag. Back it up with your play, but I mean, go ahead and be a douche. It only makes the opponent play you harder. So I can't wait to see that kind of rivalry. But back to Ed Reed and that original Ravens versus Steelers rivalry. I mean, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, Ed Reed was awesome. I really do wish that Ed Reed and Ray Lewis got in at the same year, but you know, once again, he didn't have to get overshined once again by Ray Lewis. You know, that actually it is kind of a blessing in disguise that they went in separately, because if Ed Reed was in the same class as Ray Lewis, man, he would have been overshadowed once again for the last time, where it's, oh man, this is Ray Lewis's team. It's like, nah man, Ed Reed is pretty fucking legendary. Probably one of the best safeties to ever do it. Arguably the best. You know, I could hear arguments for someone saying that there was a different safety who's number one, and that's cool, but I mean, modern era, he is number one. Let's be honest. I know some Steelers fans would say Troy Polamalu, but get that shit out of here. You and your head and shoulders, your hair, and shit. So, pretty cool, awesome. Loved watching him play. Loved that. He had the duck feet where he just like lean in. That's how you know someone's athletic as hell. Just got that raw talent. When they walk up with them feet together like that, oh, you know they're good. You know they're good. Yeah, man, he had the speed. I saw something on Twitter that, maybe not Twitter, maybe it was Instagram. I don't know. I saw something that it said that Ed Reed had been purposely getting ready for playing Peyton Manning by reading this certain play wrong. He would do it on purpose. He would mess up this type of coverage wrong for like a couple weeks straight, just so that when Peyton Manning saw him, he said, oh, this is where Ed Reed will mess up. And he was just waiting to counter him. That is crazy. It's like, I want to know, like, did we lose any of those games leading up to us playing the Colts? Like, did Ed Reed actually cause us to lose a few games just trying to set up for one interception? Are you kidding me? But I mean, that just goes to show you, that's the kind of talent he was. Like, you can, like, a lot of players are very talented, but that next level, what gets you into that elite status, is preparation. And Ed Reed really took his preparation seriously. His preparation Hines Ward. But his film study, he just knew how to set guys up, and he had the skill to back it up. So, there's a lot of very fast, very physical, very instinctual players that play at basically any position. But it's his love of the game, his desire to be the best, and to put in that time in the film session just to learn like one small detail that you might pick up on watching hours and hours of film. And that one little detail can make or break a huge play. That could be the difference between a win and a loss, and that huge play and that dud. And he really did put in the effort, and he exemplified what it meant to play like a Raven, as they say, which I always just, okay, play like a Raven? You got anything else more specific? You want me to, pass rush? You want me to, do this? No, just play like a Raven. Like a bird? Either way. Shut up, fridge. It ain't gonna stop. Either way. Yeah, and so and there were reports that he is willing, if the Ravens have an opening spot, to coach with the Ravens. And that'd be pretty cool, man. Because like I said, he liked the film study. And just because a player's good doesn't mean that they are going to make a great coach, that they're motivational and they study the game well enough to prepare other players to a game plan or set them up for success. But I really do think he does have that skill. He was a secondary. It's like, I remember hearing Brian Billick say, sometimes we wouldn't even have a game plan. It's just Ed Reed, go out and do your thing. And he would do it with success. So he was already a coordinator, like one of those player coordinators that played the game. Someone who's out on the field and also could be a coordinator. So it'd be very cool. I'd be very interested, very, very excited if we had him in our secondary unit, on our coaching staff. Now I feel bad for whoever our secondary coach is, because he probably heard that news and was like, "Fuck, are you kidding me? I just got this job. Fuck, man. Fuck you, Ed Reed." He's just going to have a grudge against Ed Reed for the rest of his life. He's going to turn into a supervillain. Anytime something bad would happen, he's like, "Ed Reed." Put his hands up in the air like, "God damn it. It is always fucking Ed Reed, man." But yeah, I don't know. Is there a limit to how many coaches you can have? Is there like a coaching 53? Can you start off with, is it like a coaching 90? And then you gotta cut down by the end of training camp to only like 30 coaches? Is that a thing? Is there like a roster cut down for coaches? Is there a limit? Can you have like as many people as you want on the sideline? Because I know they limit it to like 46 players, or 48, 49. Starting 48, first 48. I don't know. Like 47? I don't really know, but not even all 53 get to suit up on the sideline. And then you got like injured players who can go down on the sideline. You got all sorts of coaches. Like, is there a limit? Like, I would love to have Ed Reed there. I'd love to have him in the ear of everybody, because he is still, he was only 5 years away from playing, and he's still playing at a decently high level. I think he's just a little bit too slow. He mentally had it there, but he just couldn't do it, man. Just finally, game got a little bit too quick for him. But he was just a player, and so he'd be able to relate to the players more than a coach would, than any other coach would. Someone who was just one of the guys. He was just that guy, and all his experience in doing stuff that not even a coach could plan. Like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play this coverage wrong for 9 weeks. What, man? Yep, you heard me. Shut up, DB coach. You don't know what you're talking about. He's like, yes, I do. I'm Ed Reed, and I did this myself. You know who I faked out? Peyton Manning. One of the best to ever do it. Arguably the best. I don't think it's Tom Brady. I think there'd be no Tom Brady without Belichick. I think Peyton Manning, he could have played anywhere in his prime, and he would have done well. He would have had success. Would have had a top offense. But I think Tom Brady, no. Um, but, that's just going to piss off Brady lovers. I think he's overhyped. What was I talking about? Ed Reed being coach. That'd be awesome. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work because I think we all know that, or at least I know, or not know, but this is what's been reported and what you've heard these guys talk about is that Ed Reed and John Harbaugh, they used to butt heads. They used to have an issue with one another. They were not tight. They were not boys. When Harbaugh first came, he wanted to prove like, hey, this is my team. But when he came in there, it was a veteran team, and Ed Reed and a lot of the other defenders butted heads with John Harbaugh because John Harbaugh was about the team, and with a veteran squad with Hall of Famers, it's a little bit more about me. But it should be because these were the guys. These are Hall of Famers. Come on now. And eventually Ed Reed got cut or got released. And not saying Harbaugh was the reason he got cut, but I mean, come on. He was the head coach. Ed Reed, the Hall of Famer, he went to another team. Are you fucking kidding me? You hear other players talk about it, and it's like, they should never have let him go. Same with what happened to Terrell Suggs. But that's a discussion for another day. I've already kind of talked about it a little bit, like previously, really? You got to double up on that? But yeah, I've talked about that before. And Ed Reed, he shouldn't have gone anywhere else. I really wish that never happened. I really wish he just played for us the whole time. Because seeing him during his Hall of Fame speech, and he got the Jets and the Texans logos behind him, and it's like, God damn it, fuck you. He didn't play for you guys. I'm sure he got some interceptions with him, but that is just not cool. Ed Reed's a Raven, man. But yeah, I'd love to see him coach. And because we already got Zach Orr, and I mean, he was an undrafted guy, but he had the desire to coach. He wanted to be around the game, and we gave him that chance. But, I don't think he ever butt heads with John Harbaugh. And you got the whole issue of we already got a DB coach, and how he doesn't want to step on anyone's toes because he's not going to come in and then be the leader of that room, job-wise. But when he steps in there, he is going to be the leader. Like, if Ed Reed goes in there and he is just an assistant DB coach, right? He's just going over the film, helping design the game plan, talking it over with the coaches. In the meeting rooms, I have no doubt that he's going to be the guy. All the players surround and listen to him. I don't think, I don't even know who their DB coach is now. Steve Weiss? Who is Steve Weiss? Why do I know that? No, that's the reporter that I was just watching. And who was talking to Ed Reed during the Hall of Fame. Don't we have a Weiss, though, on our squad as a coach? Is he the linebacker? Either way, whoever it is, whoever our DB coach is, you are not going to outshine Ed Reed. I don't care if your title says that you're the DB coach and he's like maybe a DB assistant. That ain't gonna fucking work, man. Ed Reed's taking over that room the second he steps in there. You're talking about a Ravens legend coming into the Ravens building to coach these players. Some of these DBs, they grew up watching Ed Reed because, they're technically, some of them are younger than me, which is fucking crazy because I feel young as hell. I'm only 24. And according to the NFL, I'm a vet. Like, I'm a veteran presence in a locker room. Are you kidding me? What the fuck? I'm a veteran? I ain't fighting no war. I mean, technically, if I was in the Army, I'd be a veteran, right? Alright, so to be a vet at 24, you can only join the military or become a football player. That's the only way you can be a veteran at 24. But that has nothing to do with anything. So, but yeah, man, these guys they watched Ed Reed. Even Earl Thomas, I'm sure he watched Ed Reed growing up while he was playing college, while he was in high school, while he was in middle school playing football. I bet he looked up to Ed Reed, and now he's going to be your coach. Imagine that combination. That's 2 Hall of Famers right there. I think Earl Thomas is going to be a Hall of Famer when all's said and done. So you get Earl Thomas being coached by Ed Reed with all the skill, with all the same skills as Ed Reed. I think Ed Reed says like, hey, check this out. This is what he does here. Whenever you see this, whenever you see him do this, you do this. You run this route, because anytime the wide receiver touches his hands together like this, he's getting the ball. So I want you to go down and go to this spot right here, because I've seen this before. This coach loves to do this. This coach has been doing this for years. Back when I was playing, that's what they were doing. And that's kind of the beauty of like a player coach, someone like Ed Reed. So I mean, he's not a player, but I mean he was just a player. He's not far removed from the game. I know he coached with Bills. He followed Rex Ryan, but apparently that didn't work out, because I saw something that he was talking shit about them and how dysfunctional they were. But I would love to see Ed Reed come in here, be a DB coach, really get to him. Really, I think that'd be awesome, man. I really do. I really think that would help our team. As bad as I feel for our current DB coach, if that would happen, I would just really like that. And I know the only problem is the John Harbaugh effect. They used to butt heads, and what happens when they butt heads again? Because it just naturally happens when you work with people, right? Coach John Harbaugh says, I want kind of this to be the game plan. This is what we're thinking about doing. And he goes, yeah, for sure. And he's in the meeting room with his DBs, and he notices something that the Coach Harbaugh and maybe Dominic Martindale didn't notice. It was like, hey, listen, every time this team in this situation, they do this, it won't work with our game plan. And if they've already butt heads, maybe he won't want to say something. And then he's just, Ed Reed's just in the DB room with all the DBs. And he goes, guys, I don't care what the fucking game plan is. You see this formation on third and whatever, whatever he picks up on is. And he says, all right, don't listen to the game plan. I want you to do this. Whatever the play is on the field, disregard that and do this. And that's going to cause some friction, because he's going to be telling I could see it now. If they already had friction, it's going to maybe cause him not to speak up. And then he tells his players to probably do what's right for the team. But John Harbaugh, he ain't going to stand for that. He's like not fear of missing out. He doesn't have FOMO. He's got some sort of like control thing. I don't know. There's no non-crazy special teams coordinators, right? Wasn't that like a phrase? Like every single special teams coordinator is a special kind of crazy. And that's where John Harbaugh came from. Yeah, and so that got me like thinking. I was listening to Sip to Tally. I was on his live stream, and I was gonna call in, but his phones weren't working. But I'm gonna get him next time. So if you're listening, Coach Evans, I'm gonna call in next time you're doing that. But I asked the question. I posed the question to him because I kind of wanted to talk about this with him, because we were talking about the Ed Reed signing and stuff, at least in the live chat, and he was going over it, and I wanted to talk to him like what other. So I posted in the live chat. I posed this question: so what other former Ravens would you like to see coaching the team? Because Ed Reed, he's got that Ravens legend status, plus the great film study, great just knowledge of the game, football player, plus with all that skill, he can relate. He'd be a great leader. He's got like 5 of 5 things that would make him a great coach. And so it's like, what other players that used to play would you want to see? Would you want to see coaching this team? I'll open the floor up to anybody. Huh? Hello? You there? No. Or just answer it in the comments, or don't. Really don't care. I'm gonna list a few of them that I thought, and some of the answers that other people thought were good ideas. And Sip Tally right away, Coach Evans, he thought Jonathan Ogden would be a great O-line coach. I kind of agree with that too, because I think he was great. He was a great tactician. I think Marciano would probably do better because he's smaller. He's not relying on his size to do things, and that's one reason I'm thinking now that I'm literally just thinking about this now. I didn't realize I was going to contradict him, so sorry, Coach. But maybe Jonathan Ogden wouldn't be as good as I thought because he was very skilled. He was a very good O-lineman. But a lot of that is just due to his sheer size and girth and how big he was. I could just be overlooking technique completely just because I'd never really gotten into really analyzing and working on offensive line technique. Like when I played football, I never played O-lineman. I actually did play center for a little bit. But if you saw me, you'd be like, yeah, there's a reason you're not... Like, we just had no one on the team. That's what it was. And, yeah, man. I played center. Let's see. I was a late bloomer in general, but, like, right now, I'm, like, 265. Whoa, buddy. 165. So I weigh, like, 165 pounds. And I'm, like, 6'1". 6 foot, 6'1". I'm, like, right in between. Depends on how I stand. And so you just take that ratio, like that height to weight ratio, and then just bring it down to like 5'5", 5'4", 5'3". I was a skinny kid. Probably didn't even weigh 100 pounds. And I was playing center. Dude, I got whooped on too many times. There was no reason for me to be on the offensive line. So I played like tight end. I played a little bit of running back. I played some corner. I played, I was good at corner in practice, but when it got to game time, I don't know. I must have not had the the game time. Let's go, baby. That whole like when the lights come on. It's like apparently I was shit when the lights came on at corner. Because you're out there stuck on the island. But you're just in practice playing against your teammates. You're loose. I was blocking everything. No one got a pass past me. Like, I remember this one drill. Literally no one could catch anything on me. Everyone on the team. So, that was cool. That was a good practice day. I remember that day. That was awesome. Oh, the days. Reminisce on, like, one practice when I was a child. Either way, Jonathan Ogden. That'd be a decent pick. And obviously everyone, the next Ravens legendary guy is Ray Lewis. I don't know how good of a coach he would be. He's great at motivating. He watches the film. But at what point does the preaching become annoying to players? I mean, you're talking to grown-ass men who play professional sports for money. And you're going to get in their face, Jesus, no weapon. I mean... Like, honestly, some of his speeches just got too ridiculous. He got too preachy. I love when he would get psyched, throw his helmet down, do the dance before the game, yell, get hyped up. But then, like, everything has to have a Jesus message. And, like, I feel like a lot of players, they just wouldn't be behind it. They're like, all right, Ray, can we just get back to, like, the film study? Like, he'd end up doing, like a 3-hour speech in every single meeting about, I don't know, anything that has nothing to do with the game plan. We gotta cover these guys like they ain't never been covered before. We gonna cover them like sheets. I don't know. Like, bro. And especially the linebacker position has changed so much since he was like one of the best to do it. It's just a very different sport. And I think at least with Ed Reed, it's pretty similar. I mean, there's more passing concepts, but you're relying on the skill. I don't know. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe I'm kind of just like speaking and then thinking about what I'm saying as I'm saying it. So I kind of like realize like, oh, maybe that was a dumb thing to say. Let me just stop there. But you don't want to do that because then you sound dumb. So it's a vicious cycle, my man. But like some other guys, like see like Tony Siragusa, that'd be kind of cool. The Goose, he seems like a cool dude. But I like Joe Callan. I love his voice, love his hype. Dude, he gets so hyped. He's got no voice during like any of those like Wired episodes when you would see you'd see him talking to the players. "Oh, that's how you do it. That is how you do it. Way to rush. Way to rush." Like just getting way too hyped. Like he'd been yelling for 30 years straight, and it's like, take a break, man. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool. Bart Scott. I mean, we already kind of got Zach Orr kind of trying to take that player coach kind of role, or ex-player coach role, even though most coaches were ex-players. But, so close to retiring. And honestly, Zach Orr would probably still be on the team if he didn't have all that injury bullshit going on. I mean, he would probably still be on the team. He might be starting next to Peanut. Peanut might not even have been in the race. Maybe if Zach Orr was there, maybe somehow, for some reason, they actually signed C.J. Mosley, and Peanut would never be the starter. You don't know. But another cool, I think Bart Scott, I think he'd be another good inside linebacker coach. I really do. I think he's funny. I think he's cool. That's really the only reason. See, that's one thing. You got to be really cool, but you got to understand the film. It's like a good balance between film study and then being a cool guy, because players don't want to play for a dick. They don't want to play. They don't want to throw their body out on the line for a douchebag. That's why the best leaders lead by example and, enjoy their players' company. I don't know if that's the best way of putting it, but, there's good camaraderie. There's not like, oh, fuck this guy. He's in charge. He's got this, leadership complex or whatever. No, I think Bart Scott could be good, because he loves to talk some shit now. So I think that'd be pretty cool, seeing him talk some shit to the players, giving them all sorts of junk on the sideline or during practice. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Just like have your team, like your coaches had to be ex-players from your team. That'd be crazy if that's like the way they were done. Anyways, like Eric Weddle too. But I mean, I'd rather have Ed Reed over Eric Weddle. Let's be honest. Trying to think like running back, like Jamal Lewis, but he'd just tell him to have the happy feet in the backfield and then just run into somebody, and you'd get like maybe 2 yards. So maybe not. Rather have Ray Rice, but he would just tell them to not hit their wives, which it's like, yo, Ray Rice, it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't care what she was saying to you in the elevator. You just can't do that. Especially as an NFL player. You know how your life is scrutinized. I'm not saying if you're not an NFL player, it's okay, but all right, I'm just going to stop talking about it. Ray Rice, you are not going to be a coach. Okay? Yeah, what other running back? Maybe Justin Forsett. Because, he was a little guy, so he had to rely on technique. It's a lot of these guys, I think, players who would end up being good coaches. They use technique, because maybe they didn't have the athletic build, the athletic body. They didn't have the genetics to do it, so they had to rely on skill and tacticalism or tacticianism. I don't know, wrong words I'm thinking. But relying on skill and technique to do what someone with a better body could do. So maybe Justin Forsett, he'd be a good coach. It kind of reminds me of like jiu-jitsu. It's like one of the basic martial arts where it's like, okay, how does a little person defeat a big person? Because they don't have the reach, they don't have the strength. How do they do it? Oh, you just flip them on, you flip them down, you get some weird angle, and you jiu-jitsu them and choke them out. I don't really, I don't practice jiu-jitsu, or wrestling, but it's kind of like, it's the same mentality, using your technique, it's good enough to where you can take out somebody who's way bigger than you. So I think you get, if you want a coach, they have to be more mentally sound, because a lot of coaches are. It's like they just weren't pros at the top level. They weren't the best guys, because a lot of the times the best coaches they didn't rely on their skill. They had to rely on their technique, and so that's why they're when they're done the sport, they weren't able to do it at the top level. So first of all, they have the drive. They're like, okay, I still got to be great at this sport. But what do I have that they don't? It's like, well, I couldn't technically play. I didn't have the speed to hang with the boys, but I had the technique down, and I did it to a T because I had to. Because to even make the team that 1 year, I had to learn everything. I had to have everything perfect, but it just wasn't fast enough. So that's why like a lot of backup quarterbacks end up as coaches. A lot of college players that didn't quite make it to the league. Just guys who still had the drive but couldn't quite make it, and they had to rely on their skills. I don't know if any of this is making sense or I just sound like a fucking idiot, but I was talking about players who it'd be awesome if they're coaches, but it seems like we got away from that a little bit. Who else would be cool? Former Ravens. Maybe Steve Smith or Anquan Bolden. Both of them very technically sound. Steve Smith got that feistiness. He's gonna be a dick in the room though. Not just like a dick, like laying on in the middle of the floor. Like, whose dick is this? No. Like, he's just gonna be an asshole. He's always talking shit on the NFL Network. It's always pretty funny. He still thinks he's got it. He's like, man. Steve Smith is always talking trash. So that'd be cool. But Anquan Bolden, I really like Anquan Bolden. Calm demeanor. Apparently he had been coaching Miles Boykin in the offseason. So it's like, well, I wonder why he's doing so well in camp. Coincidence? I'm thinking of not. So maybe if he can help Miles Boykin, maybe he can help every other person. Maybe he could help Hollywood Brown. Oh, that's another thing that happened. Screw all this talk about ex-players being coaches. Forgot. Yeah, Hollywood Brown. Yeah, he's back since the last episode. It happens and you're like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to record a podcast. But then your schedule, your life gets crazy. You're not really crazy, but, you just don't record an episode until it's like a week later and you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. Hollywood Brown. He's back on the field. Now, he didn't practice with the Jags at all today. He's still, I don't even think he's doing one-on-ones. I think he's literally just doing individual drills where it's just him and the quarterback throwing left and right. You got him running routes, but they're obviously taking it slow. I mean, he had passed the conditioning test, and so it's like, okay, he's gonna be fine. And then he's out there running, and apparently he clocked at 21 miles an hour. Like, what? On a supposed injured leg doing a rehab run. And Hollywood Brown says he wasn't running full tilt. And the fastest a player went during a game last year was 22 miles an hour. Now, that's a full other mile per hour. Who knows if Marquise Brown can actually hit that? I think he probably could, talking bum knee and, in-game adrenaline going. I'm thinking he could hit 22, if not more. I wonder what the fastest, maybe like the fastest a person's ever gone. Like, I wonder how fast Usain Bolt's gone. Probably like 26. I don't know, that's pretty fucking fast. I'm actually going to look this up. How fast, that's not how you spell how. Sorry, I got sausage some. How fast does the earth rotate? How fast does hair grow? How fast am I going? What? Why is someone Googling that? It's like, Google, 0 miles per hour, man. You're just sitting there. How fast is Usain Bolt? 28 miles per hour? Holy shit. Wow. I thought I was overstating when I said 22 or 26. Wow. That's crazy. Let's see, where is it? When did he do it? Where in? But he ran a 4.22. I guess you can just, he doesn't get up to his final speed in the 40 yards. Wow, very cool. Yeah, so 28. Well, there's your answer. But I mean, he doesn't have pads on. He doesn't have a football in his hands. But yeah, wow, that's crazy. I don't think he's going to run that fast. Maybe he can do like top 20, 23, 24, like with all the pads and shit. With someone chasing you, worrying about that. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But on an injured foot, he went 21. And Marlon Humphrey, he's a sprinter. He is a track guy. And him going full clip, he said he only ran 20 miles an hour. So you're talking about a guy who's not even running full speed, who Hollywood said he wasn't even going full speed. So, I tend to believe him. He could be lying. He could just be like, I'm Hollywood. That's crazy. He is back, and I can't wait to see him. He's probably not going to play in this first preseason game. They're probably going to wait till Game 2, Game 3. Just, bring it slow. I'm totally fine with that. I'd rather them take it slow than just kind of rush him back and say, hey, yeah, go have fun. Hopefully he doesn't get injured again. Woo. Yeah, I don't want to see that happen. No. Not again, buddy. But yeah, man, super stoked. Super excited. Can't wait to see this Jaguars game, see how everyone looks, get to see some other players that everyone, they're getting hyped. So let's see if the hype can translate into the game. That is Thursday. So I don't know if I'll be able to do an episode beforehand. Tomorrow, my schedule might get kind of different, crazier. I want to put out more episodes, but it's like I got to go to court tomorrow. I got a DWI, so I'm going to have to do community service, unless I'm not guilty, but I am. I mean, I did the crime. So, hey, judge, if you're listening, go easy on me. I'm a nice guy. Yeah, so I'll probably have to do community service and shit, so I don't know what that'll take out of my already kind of busy schedule. It's not that busy, but I mean, I work full time, so obviously this is going to add an extra strain on the podcast. So I'll keep you updated. If you like it, if you like the podcast, comment, rate, just subscribe. I'm on all podcasting platforms plus YouTube. So if you're on iTunes, please give me a 5-star review or 5 stars and give it a review. It helps a lot. I want to try to get on the first page. If you look up in Apple Podcasts, Ravens Podcast, I don't show up. There's even a Lions and some Tigers and Bears. And like a Lions podcast, which is like Detroit Lions. Why do they have a podcast inside the Baltimore Ravens stuff? They're not even a popular team. I understand why there's a Cowboys one, but what the fuck, man? So I'd like to get on that first page. On YouTube, give it a like. Hope you enjoyed the content, and if you don't, then whatever. I'm just a Ravens fan. I'm no analyst. I guess technically I am, but I don't get paid for it. But just a huge fan of football. Love talking it. There's not many people here in Albuquerque, New Mexico that I can talk Baltimore Ravens football with. So I got to do it somehow, some way. I got to be able to get my feelings and thoughts about the Ravens out onto somebody. And hopefully that person is you. So I got a fever, and the only prescription is some more Ravens football. I'm trying to get my Christopher Walken down just so that my fever, I got a fever. Anyways, it's coming along, I think. I think it's coming along. So, with that being said, have a great rest of your day. And I'll leave you with a go Ravens! That was like an Oprah one.